Hey there YouTube, welcome to Showcase Watches. Today bringing you a video about the Rolex Explorer, the Rolex Explorer 1. This is a 2019 39mm Mark II. So this is the 214270 Rolex Explorer. And this is the most modern incarnation of the Rolex Explorer, although I suspect soon to be discontinued, but we'll see what happens later on this year. I think certainly the Explorer 2 is going to get discontinued. I just have a sneaky suspicion that when they do that, I think they'll alter the Explorer 1 as well. So I think the Explorer 2 is the 50th anniversary. I think they're going to do something for that watch. They'll discontinue the current one and bring out something more. And I think they might discontinue this one and possibly increase it to a 40mm case, but we'll see. That's not what this video is about. This video is about discussing this watch and what my opinions on this watch are. It is not a watch review. This watch has been reviewed to death by YouTube as far superior to myself, so it would be foolish for me to try and review a watch that's already reviewed to death. I'd just be regurgitating information read up online and from other YouTubers, so what would be the point? I'm here to give you my personal opinion on this watch and why I think it's actually the greatest Rolex in the current lineup. In the current catalogue, this, in my opinion, is the best Rolex to buy. And I'm going to tell you why. So, the story goes, and before I start, let me just say, the hat. The reason for the hat is quite simple. Over here in the UK, we are still in lockdown, and I have had to resort to cutting my own hair with the buzzers. So, the hat is staying on until I get to a hairdresser's and get a proper haircut. So basically, apart from sleeping and showering, the hat is on. So, make your peace with it. So yeah, the Rolex Explorer 1. Now, I purchased this watch from Mark P, one of the chaps who's always in the YouTube live streams on different channels. Mark P's absolutely fantastic guy, first class guy, really is. And he gave me this watch at £300 over retail. So I was, well chuffed. I didn't have to go on a wait list for this watch. I just paid £300 over retail and, it's mine. So, I was well chuffed with it. And the entire deal and transaction with Mark was first class. So if anybody's ever looking to purchase a watch from Mark, 100% he's a straight shooter. He's a great guy and, 100% trustworthy. So, Mark's a great guy. So Mark, thanks for sending me this watch. Really appreciate it. So I purchased this watch because it was a watch that I'd heard other YouTubers mention. I've heard a lot of people speak very highly of this watch, and a lot of people I respect love this watch. And in photographs, I didn't really understand why. I didn't really get it. It was just a three-hander Steel Sports Rolex. Why would you have this when you could have the Rolex Submariner, the no-date Submariner? It just didn't make sense to me. The Submariner was so much more of a watch than this. So the Rolex Explorer, the Rolex Submariner is so much more of a watch than this. So the Rolex Explorer sort of slipped under my radar because I went straight from thinking, if you want a three-hander, go for the Submariner. If you're wanting an Explorer, go for the Explorer 2 with the GMT function. So the Rolex Explorer itself, in its purest form, slipped under my radar, and like so many do, it wasn't a watch I considered. And then, as you guys know, I'm an Omega fanboy. I'm Omega through and through. But I've started to try and rekindle my love of Rolex again. And the reason being is quite simple. I dislike Rolex the brand, but I love the watches. And I've said this 100 times. I love the watch. I think the watches are first class. I just hate the whole authorized dealer games of Rolex and their price hypes and everything. All that type of stuff I dislike, but I love the watches. Take all that away, Rolex make a fantastic watch, and in my opinion, some of the finest ever made. So, for a mass-produced watch, I'll put that caveat in there. For a mass-produced watch, Rolex and Omega, in my opinion, are the two best. But that's a separate, completely separate debate. So this watch, when I got it from Mark P, Mark said to me that if I wasn't happy with the watch in any way, send it back. He was happy for me to send the watch back and give me a refund if I wanted to. And when I opened the box on this watch, I was underwhelmed, very underwhelmed. The simplicity for this watch, nothing sparked. There was no... When you open a box on a GMT or a Submariner or a Daytona or anything like, or even an Explorer 2, the sparks fly. You get an electric. It's exciting. Same as if you open up a vintage Rolex, a vintage Pepsi or a vintage Sub or whatever it may be. You feel, do you know what I mean? You feel excited about opening the box. I was excited to open the box on this right up until the moment I opened the box. And as soon as I opened the box and saw the watch, I thought, oh, that's quite tame. Almost a bit boring and dull. I was tempted to revert the deal. I'll be honest, I was tempted because Mark said to me, are you happy with it? You know, if you don't want it, don't worry, send it back. I'll have a refund and it's fine. And I was thinking about it, I thought, God, do you know what? This watch isn't what I thought it was going to be. Maybe I should. You know, maybe this isn't the best way to spend £5,500. Maybe I should send this watch back. But then I thought, no, I've heard it from numerous people. This is a slow burner. This watch, you wear it, you enjoy it, and it wears off on you in time. Which didn't make sense to me because I thought, well, you know, usually with watches, I put them on the wrist and I either love them or I hate them. This watch fell right in between the gap. I neither loved it nor hated it. It was so vanilla, it just did nothing. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. There was nothing. I've worn it every day since, and every day I've noticed different things and appreciated it more and more. To the point now, I love this watch. I love everything about this watch. The more I've worn it, the more I get it. And it is 100% a slow burner. You own this watch, you will be tempted when you wear this, when you pick this watch up, you'll buy it from an authorised dealer or grey market, wherever. You'll buy it, you'll put it on your wrist and you'll think, do you know what? I just want to wear my GMT, I just want to wear my Submariner. You want to wear something else. Since I've been wearing this, I'm not wearing my Submariner and GMT. This is the irony of it. There is such an elegance to this watch, but a tool-tastic elegance. It's a tool. This is the only watch in the Rolex lineup which isn't in precious metal. You know, the Rolex Explorer has stayed true to its roots. And if you date it back to the 1016, which if the 1016 was bigger than 36mm, I would buy one. The 1016 worn by Ian Fleming, you guys know I'm a huge Bond fan. The 1016 worn by Ian Fleming, beautiful watch, and the ones that are available now, they patina, stunning. They are absolutely stunning, and I'd love a 1016, but I'm a big guy. You know, I could never wear a 1016 on my 7.5-inch wrist. Whereas the 39mm just works perfectly, and it's so super comfortable. This watch is probably, in the Rolex lineup, this watch is the most true to its roots. And I think this is the reason why I'm falling for this watch. I'm not in love with this watch. You know, I'm not saying I love it, love it, love it. I'm just saying that at the moment, I'm, a week and a half in, 2 weeks into owning this watch. It's definitely hitting all the right buttons now. But when I got it, it didn't. But it is hitting the buttons now. And this is why I wanted to do this video, because there'll be a lot of people out there who will buy this watch and immediately have an anticlimax. As soon as you lift the box, as soon as you lift the lid, you'll have an anticlimax. And I wanted to talk about this, and I want people to watch this before they buy this watch so that they know what to expect and they know what I went through. Because now, if someone said to me, oh, you know, James, will you sell your Rolex Explorer? No, 100% not. If you'd have asked, if somebody, I paid £5,500 for this watch, if somebody had messaged me the following day and said, James, I'll give you 5,600, I'd have probably sold it. I really would. If someone offered me now 6,500, I wouldn't sell it. I'm falling for it. I really am. And it looks great on the wrist. It's a proper, you know, it's a proper tool watch. It just looks great on the wrist. It fits perfectly. You know, 7.5-inch wrist. So, you know, I'm a biggish guy, and it works. You know, it really does work. The watch, it's the truest in the Rolex catalogue. It's a stainless steel sports watch from Rolex. It's a three-hander, so it's very, very simple. It can be worn with shorts and a t-shirt. It can be worn on a trekking expedition. It can be worn on a beach. It can be worn with a suit and tie. It can be worn for special occasions. It can be worn just in general casual. It can be worn at work. This is a Rolex that you can wear when you want to wear a Rolex, but you don't want anyone to know you're wearing a Rolex, because this watch just looks like a pretty generic watch. It doesn't look, it's not shouting. Nothing about this watch shouts Rolex. Usually you put a Rolex on your wrist, there's something about it, either one element or several, that screams Rolex. And like in the Submariner's case, obviously it's an icon. It's an iconic watch. The bezel is recognisable. And even if it's not, even if you don't recognise the Submariner bezel, it's probably a GMT. The case and the structure of the watch is generally recognisable for GMTs and Submariners, and especially Daytonas. They are recognisable. And especially the modern ceramic, the ceramic GMTs pop. You can't help but see them. The ceramic Submariners pop. You can't help but see them. The light just bounces off the damn things. This watch is so under the radar. And this is why I think it's the truest Rolex currently available. It just sits in the catalogue. It just sits quietly. In my opinion, it just sits quietly. It's not shouting. It's not saying, it's not shouting this is over £5,000 watch. This is just a quality timepiece which the wearer knows it's a quality timepiece. It's not shouting about the fact. But it's a timepiece that you can wear at work through the week. You don't need to be worried about seeing clients with it. The chances are they won't recognise it or take much notice of it. And then on a weekend, if you want to go hiking, if you want to go, like myself, I'm always in the woods. I'm always trekking through woodland with the dogs. I would take this watch. It's got it doesn't have the glide lock system in the clasp, but it does have the extension. So for me, I wear my watches quite slack anyway, and one of my criteria for watches is that they have to be able to go over a glove if needed. And the reason being is I spend a lot of the winter wearing gloves, and I like a watch to go over the top of the glove. And this watch pulls that off. You can do that, no problem with this watch. It's a strap monster. You can put this on leather, you can put it on NATO. So again, it ticks the right boxes for a tool watch. A tool watch is a watch which you can change out the straps depending on the situation you're in. You can wear it on steel, you can wear it on leather, you can wear it on NATO, you can wear it on whatever you want, and it will work with all attire, all outfits, whether it be formal or whether it be casual or whatever. It works with everything. That is this watch. It does that. This is the best of Rolex. In my opinion, the best of Rolex was in the 1960s, well, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That was the best of Rolex. This is the only watch left in the Rolex catalogue which keeps that Rolex spirit alive. All the other Rolexes in the catalogue, yes, they're stunning, they're beautiful. I mean, I own the 126610LN, that's the 41mm date sub, and I own the BLNR Batman on Oyster, beautiful GMT. It's nothing like its predecessor, nothing like it. If you go back to even the last GMT Master, which was the 16700, either with a black bezel or a Pepsi, if you look at that watch in comparison to the modern, they're nothing alike. The modern is the modern knocks spots off it. They are nothing alike. If you look at the modern Submariner, take the 126610LN, even versus the 16610 LN, that's the black pre-ceramic date Submariner versus the modern one. They're leagues apart, absolutely leagues apart. They look the same from 20 yards, but get them side by side, they're nothing alike. People might say they are, but they're not. You've got the ceramic bezels, you've got the bigger bracelets. They're a chunkier watch, they're a chunkier feeling watch. There's a completely different character to the watch now to what there was. The Rolex Explorer 1, in my opinion, keeps the heritage, it keeps the spirit of Rolex's heyday. When Rolex was at its peak, this watch is the only one that is in the Rolex lineup which still has that feel about them. I would happily wear this watch in any occasion, and that was the point. Going back into the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, You didn't have to have a collection. You didn't have to have a box of the damn things. You could just have one watch which would fit every occasion. The Rolex Explorer today does that. It ticks every occasion. You can go skiing in the morning. You can go trekking in the afternoon. You can go swimming in the evening, and then you can go out for a meal on the evening. You'll have a quite tiring day, but you'd have one hell of a watch on your wrist throughout all of it. I think it's a brilliant watch. I really do. And I hope this video reaches potential Rolex Explorer customers, because my message to you would be simple. When you open the box, if you've bought it without actually physically seeing the watch in person, if you've purchased it online or from a great dealer or whatever, if you go and if you open the box, you will immediately be underwhelmed. Look past that. Look past the initial impressions. Believe me, it will penetrate. It will get into your heart one way or another. It really will. The Submariner, the GMTs, the Daytonas, they could come and go. They could be passing fancies. My taste in watches, in Rolex, changes like the wind. With this one, I didn't feel that. I didn't get that passing fancy. I gave it a chance, and it's working. And it really is working well. It's a beautiful watch. It's well made. If you want to see a review of this watch, check it out on another channel, because I'll be honest, I don't think I will review this watch in depth, simply because there's some excellent reviews of this watch. And anything that I try to do as an imitation would just fall short. So what's the point? The best thing I can do for you guys is just offer my personal opinion of this watch. It scores a 10. If I was to rate it out of 10, it would score a 10. And I genuinely mean that. There's nothing about it I would change. In the first day of ownership, the one thing I would have changed would be I would have made it a bit more pizzazz, a bit more bling, a bit more, I'm an expensive watch. But then I realised that's not what this watch is. This watch is purposely not doing that. It's staying under the radar so that the average man can wear this on an average day without shouting that they've got a Rolex on the wrist. This is the Rolex to wear when you want to wear a Rolex, but you don't want everyone else to know you're wearing a Rolex. This is just humble class in a watch. So let me know what you guys think. I'd be fascinated to hear your opinions in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos about watches. So, a quick one, guys. One watch that I haven't introduced on the channel yet is the 126610LN. I did show you guys on a live stream, but if you missed that, so I will be doing a video on that watch very, very soon. I only had that watch for a couple of weeks before the Explorer landed, so I've not really had that much chance to have it on my wrist. I've only had it on my wrist a couple of weeks before the Explorer came, and weirdly, this watch has been on my wrist ever since, so, we'll see. So, yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I hope you all are staying well and sane through this, COVID period. It'll be over soon, guys. Just, hang in there and stay safe. So, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.